So depending on your brand, this is part two, by the way. But the other one, it was 0.1 before, 0.1, which you saw before. This is going to be one officially, not part two, but basically next part of the video. So once you have OBS installed and stuff, and once you have basically that made, and if you have custom icons made, I showed you how to make the basic custom icons in the last video. So well, basically, if you don't have anything made, you need something like you need a couple things. So if you want free software on macOS, you can design everything on. It may not look the best, but you can make it look pretty good. But you need to have if you're on macOS specifically, you can use Keynote. If you're on Windows, you can use PowerPoint. Um, but basically Windows is pretty much exactly the same, other than some plugins work on Mac OS. I mean, some plugins work on Windows only, some work on Mac OS, but they both should have the same plugins. Like for example, the folder plugin on doesn't work on Mac OS, only works on Windows. That basically makes it so your scenes in your folder, I mean your sources, are basically like in lists, and you can folderize them because it does work on Mac OS. They do have a version on Mac OS, but you can't delete the folder. You can on Windows, which is different. But basically, so unique Keynote, that's one thing for design. So with design, you can just go shapes, and for example, you can do this and like make your layout on here and stuff like that, and press copy. Paste. This is just a basic one I've just decided to set up. So for example, you can have your camera like this and your video stuff like this. So your video goes here and then your camera goes here. And I messed up. I deleted something that I didn't mean to delete. Oh, it was earlier. I'll fix it later. So like this would be like your video here, or I mean your video source there, and then your camera source here. You can actually have it layered on top. For example, let me show you. Let me turn this one around to show you. So you can have it like this. So your camera's like this. Your video's right here, and then your camera is like this. And if you have a green screen, you could basically put this all the way over here, like this. Just have your camera on top, or you can have your camera on top and have your background showing there, but doesn't really matter. This is just a basic showing of how to have it. You can have um edges. Oopsies. No. Okay. Insert. Okay. So you take this one, and then you can have it like your gaming window like this, and then put your little window. I'll just use red again as an example. You can put your camera here, like so. Change it to red. You can take here another one like this guy, change it to blue, and you can basically put your chat here. And you can have it so if you put it under there, in order to do that, you have to go object list and then put it under there like that, and then you can have it like that, and then um you can have your chat like that and have it a little smaller, and you can have it make it so like your chat's coming down through your camera, and for the backdrop, um, you could change it to like green, for example. That doesn't look good, but basically that's like a basic layout how you can have it. Like this would be a color you want or an image, and then your camera here. I mean your video source, and then your chat, and then that is your video. But that's just the basic stuff you can do. You can make these like custom text and stuff like that, like putting text. I use, for example, uh, it's called impact because if you look at it, it's impactful. But if we type in, for example, I'll just use my name as an example. So if we type in Um, spell. So again, if we type like that, we can have it like that, and it looks pretty nice for the like font. But the only thing is, when you're using impact, you can't use bold or italicize. You can use underline though, and so you can do that. So that's just showing you the basics. Under italics, so that was from a different product. Okay, yeah, I got it. Just wait. Okay. So that was from the other video. Okay, so now, but this is how it would look like this once you start up Keynote and select your thing. But that's just for the basic for programming your layout. And so then, um, if you want to like having moving images, but without the transparent background, you need to use something like Canva. You need a professional license to remove the background of the video, and then you save it as a GIF, and then import it into um Keynote, and from there you can, if you need it as a video format, because if you save it as a video in here and remove the background, it'll just be white. You gotta save it as a GIF, and then import it into Keynote as a as a um as a GIF, and then save it as a MP4 or whatever file you save it as. In this case, it'll be MOV if you're going to use it for transparency, and then you use this software right here, which is called Shuttle Encoder, to basically encode it into VP9 to use less resources in OBS. So, and then that's what you need for like actually producing the actual thing. Let's just say you want to record and stream in vertical. You need a 10. A 10 is a they have one for your to automate your stream, or you can use what's that thing called? Um, you could use um this, which is $5.45 a month, or you can use what's that software called? StreamerBot, and then to basically do the same exact thing. But what I recommend is doing is using StreamerBot just for the control purposes of your stream, and also to do all automation inside of OBS for like stuff. So the product you'll need is here called Vertical. You press here, download it, and when you download it, you make sure OBS is closed. Double click and install it, and open up OBS, and OBS will look like not this, but because of before, if you look at the um docs, it says reset UI, reset UI. So UI would originally look like this, is how I left off before, but not like this. I added stuff, so you would need to go to docs. After installing it, it should be automatically enabled. So it will put in shore, it will put in vertical scenes, sources, and vertical transitions, and vertical. So let's start with this part first. So I'm gonna arrange these where um how I'm going to not put them yet, but basically I'm gonna organize this how I want to have my OBS set up. So I usually put scenes over here because of it is out of the way, and normally once I set these up, I don't mess with them. I mess with the sources more, and um but I would basically still put them there, even if I do mess with them, because they're easy access over there. So now, from here, I may put my vertical scenes right here with the vertical sources. So, and I basically switch scenes and vertical scenes. So verticals over here, scenes on the right, scenes on the left, vertical on the left, vertical on the right. So after that, I take the um, the sources and then um, put them on top, put them with the with the vertical scenes. I mean the normal sources. Switch it around so it's easier to connect to. So like this. Now from here, I take the audio. This is because of my audio is up here and I have my monitor up top, but you can basically design this however you want. So I just put mine at the top because it's easier to see if you have a monitor above your main setup. Because how I have mine, I have it in a way where my drawing tablet's at the bottom of at, at above is my drawing tablet's below my OBS monitor, and my main monitor's to the right. So basically, um, so because I look at it, but I basically have it so I can still see what's on my screen on so I can see what's on my screen on the right because I look out the corner of my eye and I can turn my head fully. Before I had it so the drawing tablet was in the middle and I didn't really like that, and the OBS monitor was off to the side, so I decided to move the OBS monitor to like the top where I can see it because I look straight ahead most times the camera's right in front of me, and then if I need to look to like the right, I have I have my monitor up there, and so now I have a camera behind me. But basically, that's getting more into detail. So once I have the audio here, it's just there. So now I take scene transitions, put it to the right, and so then I take the vertical scene transitions, put it in the same one, but it would be on the right further, and the left one, which would be normal scene transition. Then after that, I take my console, which is the start and stop, and put it below there to make it look like that. And yes, this is OBS 3.1.2. There's been a couple updates. I just haven't updated it on this computer yet. So now is my tutorial thing. So basically, now you go to dock and remove the ones you don't use. So if you don't use the vertical, if you don't use the scene transitions, then you can just you can disable those, and then if you don't use the stats, you can disable those. For example, I don't use this thing down here because of it says source selected, but you basically can just see what's actually selected. You can disable it if you want. Um, I usually just leave this stuff here so I can just um have the source here. And now for the last thing, which is vertical scene transition. So I usually put this where it's seeable, but not right there. That's pretty terrible. So mostly it's right here, and then that is like that. So I can see it over here, and it is more of a out of the way. And if you wanted to make this a little better, bigger, you could basically go like this, but you have to move your audio, have your audio down more. I don't like that. I would just like it farther up. So going like this. The only thing I would change honestly would be if I have this like this, I'll probably put this over here because this doesn't need that much space. And um, so I would do this. This is just something I just thought of on the fly. So now, if you still want to have it even bigger, which I kind of recommend doing, putting it uh, putting it right there, which is still good, but now you have your full size screen there. And if you need to make it smaller, you can, or if you need to make this bigger, you can for like editing the effort, the item. So normally I would just um, have it like how I had it before, but this is actually a better solution because my other OBS was set up like that on my gaming computer. I mean, on my recording PC. But now this is something I would use if I was using this specific setup here. Though this setup I'm going to change eventually, but and just to make it so it uses up even less space, you could do this. Um, you could take sources, you can take vertical sources, and then put it right here with the vertical seams. So vertical seams, vertical sources. And now we'll take this one and then put it also here. So this would make it so seams vertical, and then you can have it in one page. And just to make it even cleaner, you can take this. You can take this as just a part of a control feature. Take the control, put it there. Take scene transition, put it here. So you'd have scene transition and vertical scene transition, which would make it a lot cleaner. And then you could basically have it like this. So, which is still bigger, and then still bigger here, but in all these will be in a single location. So, vertical scene, uh, vertical source, vertical scene, I mean, regular scene, and regular source, which is still easy accessible, but out of the way. And same with this one. You can change that like that. But going back out to this one, after you set up the ATEM video source, because if you're planning on recording or streaming in vertical or doing both, you can basically set up your settings where basically you can have it so this mirrors this guy, and or you can have it just be one thing, and you just kind of edit it per edit it per like thing, or basically you can just make it so it matches. I would honestly make it match honestly. And so after that, after you get it installed and set up how you like, you go to the vertical scene first. So, well, no, first you basically, after you get that installed, everything, all that installed and arranged how you want, then you go into settings, because this is where you need to start it, okay? Then you need to go to output, change it from simple to advanced. Then your recording to change your recording to MKV, and then change this one to whatever. Because if you're using an NVIDIA GPU, change your encoder to NVIDIA. Make sure if you if you're streaming more, you probably want to set your streaming encoder to uh, to um basically um to whatever your most powerful encoder is. I would say if you're focusing on recording, you want to go to you're going to put your strongest encoder on recording and your second strongest on streaming if you're planning on streaming. If you're planning on using it for recording, then put your strongest encoder on recording and then just forget about streaming. Same if you're planning on, or if you stream, or if you save your VOD from wherever you basically stream from, then you don't need to worry about the recorder. But I recommend, since I would be using this for recording, I would set it. If this was an NVIDIA GPU, this would be NVIDIA H.264. HVAC is better quality, but it pushes your resources harder. Um, depends on if you have like a super high powered editing machine, I mean recording machine, then use the HVC or HVAC, and then just use that. But since I would be using, I normally use H.264 even if I actually have a powerful CPU and GPU. I basically just use that because of I'm not made of storage, and so I just want to save on storage space. From actually there, I have mine set to hard hardware encoder because I'm using a Mac Mini M1 to do this video, and yours would be Intel QuickSync or NVIDIA or AMD if you use AMD. If you use NVIDIA, it would be NVENC. I don't know about I don't know what AMD's would be because I don't use an AMD GPU at the moment, and I haven't used AMD GPU when using um, OBS. I mainly used a Intel QuickSync GPU CPU, or I use an NVIDIA NVENC, which right now I'm using NVENC, which is fine. So after that, because it'll be set to stream encoder, so you want to change it to whatever your best encoder is, which will be either QuickSync, NVENC. Don't know about AMD's, but AMD's equivalent. So, and then after that, um, so I have mine set hardware because of for M1 it's hardware, and if you're using Intel um Mac, then it'll be software because of it will be either hardware on both of them or software if you're trying to basically um not because I haven't used because the strongest Intel CPU I have right now for a Mac is up around a 1.5 gigahertz, so I don't really know about OBS how that will work on there. So I would say use um hardware or software, but hardware is the best option for M1 slash M2, M3, M4, and whatever after that because it's built into the silicon itself. So after that, you go down to where it says CBR slash ABR. You want to use ABR on Apple or like CBR, which would be um standard or CFR constant. That's constant, but this basically gives you a slider. These are just rate control, so bit rate control. So I usually, if I'm on a really powerful machine, like for example, something like a I'm talking about for OBS wise, like not powerful machine in general, like an i9, that'll be kind of overkill. But basically, just for OBS, so for something I would say like an i5 6 core 6 thread, I put this up to 30,000, which is a lot. Uh, Apple, I would say for Apple, haven't tried the new M. I haven't tried this with the M2, but with the M1, I had to put it to like um I could put it to 30,000, which would it didn't cause an encoder issue, but the CPU was pretty. I kind of like keeping the CPU right here pretty low, but have good quality. So my videos are okay when I um put it with better hardware, but so the encoding I try to keep around 30 to 60,000, depending on how much space I have, or like depending on the video. Because if it's like text related, I probably keep it up to around 30 to 60,000. If it's like some actual games in between there, 60,000 would be for like text, like high quality text, crisp text, and 30,000 would be if I'm playing like a card game, for example, which is still pretty high because some people put the bit rate to even higher than that. But since I would be streaming some of this stuff, like 30,000 to 60,000, 60,000 is what Twitch would actually use, and um OB YouTube is a little bit is just that too, but I don't mind just um I don't have internet slowdowns when trying to go for a little less than that, but you want to change that to whatever your internet can handle. Plus whatever if you live someone with someone who streams video from like a streaming platform, then you wanna basically take your internet, cut that in half, and cut your internet bandwidth in half. Because if you don't, and you basically take over the internet just with your streaming, and they try to stream a video to like you got to like their actual TV or their computer or phone, whatever, it could basically cause your stream to like chop up and their stream to like chop up, and no one would enjoy it. So I recommend basically whatever internet you have, cut that in half, and then take that and cut that in half. So basically, just to make sure, um, if you're only using half of the bandwidth, so leaving them some, leaving your friend, partner, whoever, roommate, whoever you live with, some, and then taking the half you would have used and cut that in half, and leave that as your final amount to put on there to make it an enjoyable stream, and you don't run out of bandwidth, and you can push it a little bit higher than that just to make it so you don't run out of bandwidth and they don't run out of bandwidth for just so you can stream. After you set up all that, and once you change the recording, depending on what kind of audio you do, you can basically separate it. I don't separate it here. I use a software called Wavelink, and or there's also um other software that can just basically split the audio. But with this guy, you can basically split the audio of the computer. You so basically what this one does is if I press this, it'll mute my microphone. If I press this, it'll mute the microphone for like people listening. If I press it here, it'll mute the microphone. Um, it has it muted for my headset, so I can't hear myself. But if I press this, I can hear myself. And then if I press it again, I don't hear myself. This is the same thing. This is for me. This is for the audience. But they make it so um if you have it set up, you can make it so um on Windows you can actually send the monitor mix to actually the audience instead, or you can send the stream mix to like the audience also. So which would so you can send this to Zoom, for example, and this to basically the audience. What would be heard on Zoom would be heard on here. So if someone decided to mute here, only Zoom would be able to hear it. So for example, if I had a microphone here for this one example, and this one was actually going to OBS, and then and plus this one is going to OBS right here, and this one is going to Zoom. Whenever I talk into Zoom specifically and have this mic muted, for example, I could use a button on the Stream Deck to basically do a hot mute. So when I press it, it mutes this one and then unmutes this one, etc. So basically, when I talk here, um, it would be muted from actually Zoom, but it would be muted from Zoom, but it wouldn't be muted from chat. And if this one, it would be muted from actual chat, but not Zoom, or I mean from the stream. So stream unmute, but Zoom mute. Stream unmute, stream muted, and Zoom unmuted. So basically, this is like if you're trying to have like a green room. It's basically just like a hardware audio mixer, but it's software and it can be controlled by the Stream Deck. Because I was looking for an audio mixer that's controllable by the Stream Deck. They have some out there, but they're like $600-700 just for a decent one. And this one, it basically software itself is free, but basically for now, I guess. But as of now, the only way of getting access to this software is using something like a Stream Deck Plus, and a Wave Mic Plus. A Wave Mic Neo, a Stream, a Wave Mic Neo, a Wave Mic One, a Wave Mic 3, and then the Wave XLR. So you get access to like this guy. Um, so right now I have, in order to have access to it on this Mac, I bought a Wave Mic, this one right here, to put on here, and I have a Wave Mic on my gaming PC and a Wave Mic on my actual on my mini PC, which is also happens to be connected to my MacBook using the same exact microphone. I'll go into like that in another video, not related to like the series, but it's basically just for showing on. It's for when I'm doing a setup update and stuff like that. But you'll see that then. And then you can have all your audio control here. So now going back to here, you don't have to do a thing here if you're planning on going back to, if you're planning on using something like Wavelink or some kind of hardware mixer. So this is where you would put your Twitch audio if you decided to separate the audio coming from here inside of there. So next place, which is audio, you want to disable all of these. So on Windows, you have built-in desktop audio. So depending on how you have it set up, if you're using Wavelink, you basically can just pipe everything into the actual wave into the stream, into the wave wavelength stream, or stream stream output, which is, I don't know what it's called. I think it's called stream output. But basically, once you do actually that, you can have it. So all this audio here, it will be going through there, and you can have it piped into each channel. And depending on what scene you're on, you can have it mute the specific channel using either StreamerBot or basically the Stream Deck. Depends on how you have it set up. Now for video, depending on how you stream, I'm just gonna assume you're using 1080p because of 1080p has really no streaming issues unless you have like basically internet that's basically doesn't matter if you're streaming like seven different platforms. I mean, like seven different streaming websites, and also you're streaming to YouTube and Twitch. If you're doing that, then it would you if you're streaming to YouTube and Twitch, you should cut it, and you should cut your like streaming bit rate in half for like again. So if you're just streaming to like YouTube, then just cut your bit rate that you get in total in half, and then cut that which you're well like you have half of in half. But if you're doing that, you could want to cut that in half and then cut that in half. So basically, you can just output this Twitch and YouTube at the same time without eating up your actual bandwidth, and also without having a bad quality. So, and then you want to have this set up to probably 720p at that. Don't do scale. Don't change this stuff from 1920 by 1080 to 720 to 720. You want to put them both on 720 mainly because of it involves re-encoding on macOS. I actually figured out, this is just from personal usage, that if you put it on the 60 here, it basically eats up, it spikes the CPU even harder. If you put it on 30, it works pretty fine. Um, and I basically do vertical streaming and horizontal streaming on the Mac Mini that has 8 gigs of RAM and then 256 gigabyte SSD. It works out as long as you're not trying to basically have tons and tons of plugins. So I basically try to make all of my graphics use less resources as possible and not use most plugins. Like for example, uh the Move plugin doesn't really help here. I just basically make all of my scenes kind of work how I plan them to and don't use like any plugins. For example, if I wanted a camera, for example, right here and one over here, and I wanted them to switch, instead of me having a move plugin that basically moves it over here just by pressing a button, I just have it so um, when I click on another scene, it would just um, go from here to there and switch doing just by doing it inside of with like the Stream Deck and just having it programmed that way. I um try to also have it so when a source is enabled, I have it the other sources that's not active disabled, so it uses less resources then. So for the actual hotkeys, I don't use those since I use a Stream Deck. But if you use hotkeys, I recommend assigning these to something like the F24. I mean to F24 if you're on Windows or lower. And then combine that with like Control Alt keys and Shift because of you don't want it to be accidentally pressed because of, for example, or you can use something like the auto the HID macro and turn a separate keyboard into a Stream Deck kind of thing. But I recommend just at that point for less work just to buy a Stream Deck, save up for it. You don't need like a if you're just planning on doing like recording and not like many like sound effects, just get a single six key stream deck just for record, pause, play, and then next page for like a stream and stuff like that. You don't need more than that unless you really want to have like everything on the same page. You don't need a bigger stream deck unless you want to have everything on a single page and you don't mind just like flipping through extra pages, which would be tough for like some people when like trying to do a live stream. They have to flick through extra buttons. I recommend getting a 15 key if you only have six extra buttons and you don't and you just want to have it just for that one thing, get 6 key. If you have if you have more buttons that you want to use, for example, like 15 scenes or like whatever plus a scenes plus your record, stop, play, pause button and streaming buttons, which is by the way just like 8 keys there, and um, that leaves you with the um, 7 keys. And so you end up basically being there. And so if you have a ton of stuff, then the 32 key is the best. But if you need access to Wavelink and you don't want to, you already have a microphone on interface, just get a Stream Deck Plus, and you basically can have infinite pages at that point. Well, it's up to 10 pages, but you can basically swap through the pages by just touching the touchscreen. But I made it so to like swap through my pages, I can use a knob for actually that. I just don't have because I don't have enough stuff to put on knobs by themselves that would fill up all four. So well, some stuff I do, some of the stuff I don't. Uh, and so now, um, let me show you the advanced, which is what you need to set up here. I'm setting up MP4. So you said it's automatically remix MP4. So go to output and change this to MKV. MKV makes it so if your OBS crashes, you don't lose all your video, just what happens when you when like when the recording software crash. So, and what if it does crash, then you can just take the MKV, go up to here and go to Remux record, add the file, and then it'll remux it, and basically just make sure you have somewhere else live, like restream, or like a way of having two streams running at the same exact time, just to make it so just having a computer. So basically, there's a software. This is actually software on Stream Deck that can control two versions of OBS. So basically, you can have it so um they all go to a single, to like two restream. So two restream, and then take the restream key, stream key, and put that into into um into YouTube, and then basically, instead of basically the file, and if one stream drops, the other one will pick up. So it's like a like piggyback. So let's just say one computer crashes or your internet crashes, you should have two ISPs, just so if one does crash, your modem would automatically switch there. But that's just more if you're planning on doing this as a um trying to basically just do this instead of, if you're just planning on streaming, and you're planning on um like capturing a lot, and you're not planning on capturing, you're just planning on streaming, then I recommend having two internets, a modem that can basically um do a fallover, or I mean a Ethernet switch that can do fallover, that where if one is network is not protected, it can switch over to the other one. And then if basically that happens, um it could then reset to go back to like the main one, which is ever stronger. You just have to program that. I don't have that set up. Like, I don't have that, but basically, there's that, and then you have to have two computers running the streaming software, and then like two sharing software with OBS on both of them, and then having it so they're both exactly the same, other than their stream keys, and then you can just um um press the stream or record on both, and you will have a backup record and a backup stream, just in case your network goes down, or basically, or if one of your streaming computer goes down, you have a backup running already. Something I would recommend. I just don't have the actual power budget to like do with this, because right now in this room I'm running four computers. Um, Technically four computers. It would be five to include my laptop. Six monitors. And then my Stream Decks, and um, I wanted to add a pair of speakers, but I just don't have the place to put the speakers, and I don't have the power to actually run them, and I also have four lights. But basically, um, that's basically because of that. And also, you want to set up your stream here, so so you can change your theme here. I like Yami mainly because of it's just black and blue, but they have other ones. Um, they have gray, classic, ranchy. So ranchy is purple, gray, light is white, which is hurting my eyes. Sorry about that. Gray is the standard gray, and then you actually can change the theme if you want. So default this is default OBS. So classic is more of an older style OBS, but it's the classic look. And this one, which is one I liked before, but I don't really like anymore. I just like the default, mainly because of it doesn't hurt my eyes as much. So now, once you have all that set up, um, depending on how you have it set up, you can basically have a projector open at start. Enable minimize to system tray on start. So if you have a computer that auto starts, you can change this here. I wouldn't recommend uh, enabling this if like your computer's if your computer is your daily driver and you don't want to have OBS pop up every time you actually start up. And I have my OBS start up all the time on my recording PC, and I just have it to boot up full screen mainly because of I'm not looking at the extra screen if I need to have a button on there to kill it just in case. Because how when the computer boots, my capture card really doesn't work properly unless sometimes I reboot OBS, which means killing, and then it reopens. And how I have it reopen is a parameter. Let me show you what that parameter is. So basically, I have text files for parameters. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Here it is. OBS. Thinking. Oh, here it is. Launch parameters. Launch parameters. So these are the launch parameters they have. So with this one, if you put this one in Windows instead of shortcut OBS shortcut file, you then will can put this in here and it'll start the stream. If you have put in here, it'll start recording. This one will be start virtual camera. This one can be start replay buffer. Okay, you can combine all of them together, start and recording. You just gotta put a space in between there. And if you do, it'll start recording and start streaming as soon as you open up OBS. The only one I use because I don't care about the rest of them is you actually can use this one if you wanted to change your screen your like scene your like scene collection and stream profile selection setting. For example, this one has a profile called Untitled, and then it has a profile called Tutorial. Let's just say I want to make something tutorial related. I can just put this inside of a shortcut right here and have it change to that profile in that collection. And you can have that on the Stream Deck if you want, or you can but you can have that shortcut key on the Stream Deck, and then you can press it and it launches it that way. Or you can just basically use the Stream Deck buttons to control specific things. And now, the one I use, this one disables updater, but the one I use is called, where's that? I'm trying to find it. I think it's below here. The one I use is right here. It's called Disable Shutdown Check. So disable shutdown check is if your computer were to crash or OBS crashes, it would basically on the next startup and it was either recording or it wasn't shut down properly. For example, when you shut down your actual computer, it doesn't work properly. So sometimes you gotta open it and then it'll actually open in safe mode, or if it wasn't shut down cleanly. For example, I have it kill itself because of not really kill. Sorry. I have the task kill itself, which is OBS. It's task kill forward slash. I'll show you the actual thing. But basically, what it does is it it basically it stops the process and then it starts it up again and stuff, and then it restarts it using a it also restarts it starts up that with that command by using cd or basically a start command. So that is how I have it when it's basically acting up and it needs to be restart, or if the computer starts up and it doesn't start properly, I use that command and it restarts it, and then it basically turns off my capture card and turns it back on. So what it does, it turns off my capture card, and then it does the task kill command, then it restarts my capture card, and then it will restart OBS, and then it will go to end. It's a custom bat file that I made to an exe, and then I put it into Home Assistant, so I could basically in Home Assistant is just so I can basically do all this stuff from a singular Stream Deck, because all my Stream Deck control and monitor control, computer control is all on the Stream Deck that I use, that I use for um with like home assistant and stuff like that. I'll show it to you in another video. So let me just unplug there real quick. So now, um, now, once you have all of that set up, um, you end up just having to, um, all of that stuff. You're at this screen, and so now, if you have this installed, you go over here. Then you make sure the vertical scene is set to your resolution. I recommend 1920 by 1080p because that's what you'll be streaming at over here. You don't want this canvas to be different. You don't want this canvas to be different than over here because the profile would mess up if you just had to make custom like overlays and stuff for that. Then track back, I don't use that because of I basically record two ways out already. So track back is basically to record just in case you actually need to record like there. I mean, have a backup. So, and also to go back a bit. So what I do is I use my ATEM Mini, and then I have it record to the actual to a hard drive, and that is my backup. It's my ISO backup to be actually specifically. It can record each scene individually, and I have it record to like a 4 terabyte SSD. So if I'm recording longer than what a 4 terabyte SSD can take, which is literally like 20, which is over 24 hours of footage it can take, and this is basically with like ISO recording and stuff like that, then I wouldn't have like a backup. But then that's connected to an FTP and it connects to my NAS, and then I am running a a software called Companion to control the Stream Decks. The ATEMs from my Stream Decks, and then I basically have like a command in there that's ran to basically flush the actual hard drive once it gets to 89% full. You using home assistant, or every 24 hours it flushes that hard drive. So what it does is if either the Stream Deck, if the um ATEM has been running for like more than 24 hours straight, then it would then flush the drive by sending a command at a specific time from Home Assistant. But if it's been 24 hours and the Stream Deck hasn't, the ATEM hasn't been on, then it will turn on the ATEM smart plug that's actually on there that the ATEM is connected to, and then it will wait um the amount of time it takes to flush the drive, which is around 20 minutes, depending on how actually full it is, because it's connecting to it from Home Assistant to Companion to basically the ATEM, and then to the ATEM's hard drive using a macro command that I made to like delete the drive, because you can delete the software inside the ATEM software. But what the ATEM command is doing is basically deletes it and before it gets there. So basically, the ATEM control can be accessed through SG Companion as long as you send it back. As long as you connect ATEM to Companion and Companion to Home Assistant, then you can control that way. But then for streaming, you put your stream output stuff here. So if you're streaming to here, name the stream you want, and then you put your stream key here. You can start and stop streaming when OBS starts and stops streaming. This is using the OBS setting, so whatever your setting is over here, it would be the same inside of the main one, will be the same here. Same for recording, it's the same, but I have it start and stop recording when OBS starts and stop recording. I would basically, if you're doing vertical streaming, I would set it in half of what you're actually recording on the main setup. The main canvas, because of you basically have to stream it. Because if you're streaming vertical, and also recording. Because if you're streaming and recording, you have to stream and record, which means you're basically already using half the bit rate for like recording and half the bit rate for actually streaming. So if you're streaming and recording vertical and horizontal canvas, you're dual streaming, you're dual recording, which means you got to cut your bandwidth in four. So if you're doing that the first way, then you gotta cut your actual bandwidth in six. Then and if you're doing it the second way with dual vertical, I mean with like the vertical canvas and horizontal canvas, then you gotta cut your bandwidth time eight. So and at that point you might want to get, if you're streaming that much, you should have a dedicated line just for for your streaming, and one dedicated line just for your other users there, just so you're not making it so they can't stream or enjoy themselves. So and then after that, there's a help page, so it helps you, and then the support button. So after that, you're ready to get started. So how I have mine set up is I have this thing right here, which is just my circle scene. And then right here is my green screen scene. So green screen is this one. So if I click here on the green screen and then click um so how you would have, you just have one call tutorial here. So you also have one source, which you have once you have scene source, vertical scene and vertical source. So source, the scene right here is just called source because I was making a different video and I basically made that. So right here, you would just have no scene here. So you create a scene here. You wanna this scene, the vertical scene will be made over here. The vertical source would be for here, and if you want um to basically split it up, so this and this is over here, you can put it over there under there. If you want, I recommend just leaving it like this if you want. But the scene, um when you create a scene here, for example, you can't just drag and drop it over here or drag and drop a file into here. It will just appear on your main scene. You have to literally add the file either to your main scene, so your main scenes, and then you go to your scene over here, right click, add, and then um add that. But if it's a source, you have to right click, add the specific source. I usually use nested scenes, so you would add your nested scene here from here. So these are my nested scenes, and then from here, uh, you have a um. You might want to call these, instead of using hashtag, you want to use nested scenes. I use hashtags mainly because of it was just a tutorial purpose. You want it, however you want to name your specific nested scenes. I named mine specifically nested scenes inside of my personal OBS setting that doesn't involve this setup. Because right now it may look like the camera's lagging because it's going from a capture card to another capture card. The capture card I'm using right now in this Mac is basically just a $30 capture card. It wasn't the best, but it's something to basically allow me to share what's on my ATEM without having to plug ATEM into another computer, and without having to get to ATEM in Extreme to just support a second one. But this allows me to how I can use it as my source record, and also my actual main record. So now, I mean, my source recording it in the USB is being used as another record, and I have it so I have a higher quality capture card capturing the same input, but onto my capture PC. So capture PC has a higher grade capture card. To be specific, it's an Ultra Studio specifically. Like this is Blackmagic it's another Blackmagic card, but basically that has this output connected to that card capture card. My capture card, the ATEM is going through a HDMI splitter. That splitter is going to this capture card that's here, and then the capture card that is connected into my recording PC through PCI Express. I was thinking about a major or something like that, but basically that's going from there to there. And so when I hit record on the Stream Deck, it records through actual the Blackmagic um, capture card inside of my main PC, and then I mean inside of my capture PC, and then it would be captured there. But then in that same record button inside of there's a multi-action, it would send the button to my. It would basically press the button for my ATEM to record there, so I can have a backup recording there, and also records to my recording PC at the same exact time, and then I can have it off put to my hard drive using another button on my Stream Deck. So Stream Decks are here that you can't see right here. But other than that, this capture card is mainly aimed at hooking it to my actual maybe so I can capture um so I can show my actual mini PC and stuff like that, like mini PC, because I wanted it to basically do a OBS setup for my for like Windows, but Windows has been acting kind of funny lately, and I haven't been able to set it up on like a Windows recording PC. So I mean, like a Windows mini PC. So, but this is how this is. You would add this, you add your sources. So I have one called audio. This audio one, as you can see, is my audio mixer, which is have wavelength on there. Because if we go here and then we go to sources, it would be the mic audio. And if you double click the mic audio, it says wavelength stream. And then they have one for wave microphone. And then these are the capture cards. And these are this one. That's what I'm talking about. So now if we go here, you can see I'm talking and you can actually hear me talking from because I'm recording screen recording, so there's that. So now and just so you like so just to make it so it may be easier for like you, so just put those there, that there. So this is basically mainly for because you want to access your sources first, and so either you can put sources beside each other, and then the 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 scenes beside each other, and then the scenes by scenes, sources by sources. Scenes are basically more accessible because you can press it and access them. But that's just how I have it is. This is how I have it set up. This is camera two. Camera two. I mean, circle two. Let's just this is just an example I was using. So basically, um, so um, when you want to have your camera added, this is how the camera is added. So you would have a source without that, but you can make an actual scene thing. This is my capture card, so this is a capture card for date. That's basically just the screen capture. So what you want to do is if you want to add a scene, a like scene a screen capture, you want to add that. Would normally this would be your actual capture card that you want to basically have your computer hooked up to or your game computer. This is if all this is basically if you because if like you're using a single PC, then you just take this and then right click on you right click on um you right click on um here and press add, and then you go to add a screen capture, and then that'll capture screen. You'll take a hardware hit, but basically there's that. Um, then if you are doing a dual PC, you want to add your capture card. You want to add your gaming PC to the capture card. Hook the capture card to your recording PC. Right now, as you're saying, this is my recording PC. my capture card is technically hooked to my recording PC also, but it's hooked up to a matrix, so I can just change the input to like whatever I want because I have it switching there, and then from there, you want to add you have a camera, which is right here. This is my camera that I use for like OBS. And I mean, this is the main camera, and then right here is the green screen camera. The green screen camera has an effect that I have on here that if I enable the filter, it does chroma. So, because as you can see, I have a green screen behind me. That's what the green is. So now, depending on how you have it, if you just have like this kind of camera, you don't want to and you don't mind showing your background, then you can just um make it so you have for that's why I'm showing this example. This was for a totally different video, but basically you could take this like this and cut it out like this, and I'm just showing like depending on how much you're trying to show of your background, this can be your background like this. I just have mine happens to be the size of my screen where I want it. So now this you take and then you press transform, and then you can center it. You can center this. Let's see. Let's see. Something. There we go. Center. So you center the screen, and now, depending on how you want it, you can put it right there. And for here, so in this case, I'm just gonna put it right here because of that's where I would want it for this video. So now, you just set up your scene. So you go right here, and then you go to where it says scene, I mean, where it's the source right here. And now, depending on what kind of graphic you made, these are graphics I made, for example. So the graphics are here. So this would be the graphics. I just don't have them hooked into here right now because of they're just different names. Because of that's what you also have to make sure where you have your assets at. They're they're like different names, and they're also I mean they're the same name in a file that's local. You don't want to put it onto like somewhere like volumes here, for example. You want to put it onto a folder that basically keeps your files on Mac OS. This is what I usually do. If I'm on Mac OS and I have OBS open, I go to my user folder and then I put it right here. And then when I put it here, I call it something like source files. I put all the source files related for OBS here inside the source files. And on Windows, I put it into the C drive. So C drive, and then I make it an app folder, and then I call it and I put a file folder in there called source, and for app folder called source, and I mean app folder, and the folder called source inside app folder. So anything app related or basically or source related goes in there. So if I have an app that runs not from not from not from like storage, so it can't be like double click installed, but you have to drag and drop from a zip file. I put that into the C drive and then just put into a folder called app. And it's the same with Mac OS. I take a folder, and if it needs to be actually made, I put it into here called app, and then I put it into a hidden folder if it's something that I don't want it to be messed with. Yeah, I put it into a hidden folder because the only way of making a hidden folder on Mac OS is by putting a dot in there. But you can't do that on specific folders in Mac OS. So the only other way is by taking a blank icon and putting a space on that icon, I mean, on that folder, and it'll show that there's the icon there with, I mean, the folder with no name. And then you right click, and then go to get info, and then you drag and drop the image right here. And so on top of the icon, and then it'll change. And this works on mostly majority newer Mac OSs. On some Mac OSs, it's kind of finicky. Like most Macs, it doesn't work. Some Macs, it does. And so after that, um, you have to go back to here, and then you add your other source files on here. So I'm just going to use my camera as an example. So if we go add, then your nested scene. Then after that, you want to either put your green screen camera or whatever camera here. I'm going to use Circle 2. So if you use Circle 2, we have a camera on the side here. And if we have a green screen on here, which I think there's an effect on here. I think there's a green screen effect on here. So filters. So there's no there's no um there's no um icon on there. I mean, there's no green screen, but you can enable the green screen by basically just adding here chroma and then chroma key, and then after chroma key it will be green. Then it will be disabled. It will be enabled. So this will um this will basically make it green. So if you go similarities, it will remove everything green. Too much, you will get a if you have black hair, it will kind of blend in. So as you can see, there's a green tint over there. So if we go over here, let's say smoothness. Smoothness will take out the green to a certain extent. You don't want to go too far because if you notice that um if you go too actually far, it removes the green, but it starts removing your hair also. If you have black hair, you have a different color hair, it wouldn't take that. You just can't wear green in this. Because if I go here and go custom color, for example, if I go, let's see, go here, custom, let's go white. As you see, it basically takes out my shirt and it brings out all the not white in me. So as you can see, since white is a majority color, it's kind of hard to like get rid of. And since my shirt is mostly white, it takes out everything that isn't white because it's black. So now let me show you. If we change it to black, I disappear and my shirt comes up. Like most of my faces, shadows just because of shadows and stuff like that. But if we just do another color, let's do brown. Do brown. I don't totally disappear because I'm not totally brown. But if we just had to go to green, like so, so if we go to green, we go like that. So if we go to select color, go color picker, and you try to exactly make yourself disappear, you kind of can't. But basically, if you go like that, I technically disappear because of I'm mirrored in the background. But normally, you want to have it as a green screen. So the custom color would be green, and so because at the background. And so opacity is where I can make myself blend in with the background more by the background that I'm gonna put behind it. So after that, you have a green screen. So as you can see through me. But um, but as you can see, the chair is kind of um the chair is kind of unsee-throughly, see-throughly. So you got to take that and take it down more. So now, after that, you can still see it, still kind of see-throughly, because this actually takes some modification to have a good green screen. So now, depending on your lighting, because of this is the best I can do with like this capture card because of it picks up way too much. This capture card I'm using right now picks up a lot of detail from a camera that isn't showing sources of. Because if you can see, because if we go to here, um, or if we go to here, it doesn't look as bad. But basically, once you put black on black, I mean, that came out. So once you go back to here, it basically is taking color away because of that. So now, if you wanted to basically make it kind of better, so basically, so as you can see, I'm kind of see through. I got because I did that. Let's see. So yeah, so let me go to here, go to filters. So that's because opacity is all the way up. So if we go down that like that, so not like that. So now we go to smoothness. Smoothness will basically take away most of the actual um the see-throughness. But if you go like here, kind of like take away most of the black. The black has to be the black. I mean to like take away most of the green. You have to. There's a finite amount of editing you have to like do to get it pretty good. So as you can see, it's still you can see through the brown chair. But if you go to here again and go edit, I mean you have to go to here, edit filters, and then you basically go and take the similarities down too much. You gotta take it down a lot. You probably might be stuck with natural green, like green a little bit. So if we go here again, edit, and then modify the smoothness even more. The smoothness is it basically helps with like getting the actual because you can see it's disappearing, but as you can tell, there's a lot of green around there. Because one, this lighting is okay, but like what you want is lighting here, here, so here, like aiming this way towards your face. So having light over here, for example, light over here, and then you want one from above. So the light is to highlight the top to like get rid of any green up here, and the light over there would be to get rid of light over here, and light over here to like get rid of basically any green over here. But because that's why you mostly see actually green, and I can't get more ungreen than actually this, unless I literally um get a light that goes down, which I can't do because I have nowhere to put it at because I don't have a above headlight mount right here, and also it would be too heavy to put on my ceiling. So the only way of doing it would be taking a stand over here and putting it above my head there and having it aimed down. But I don't have that at the moment to basically have it look okay. And now the going back to the camera thing. Let's see if we go to probably 200, it would probably fix this. So 200 would probably fix this. Okay, 200. As you can see, 200 kind of fixes it. So if we go here more, edit, let's try 100. 100 would be workable. Try 40 first. We're trying going 41st. Okay, so if we go 141st, as you can see, it got rid of it, but most of the green is there. So now you just have to, because this is like the part of like editing the actual green screen. So now if we go to 630, what does it look like? Okay, that would be acceptable to some PvP people, and it is acceptable unless I get more and more lights, which I don't have at the moment. To more lighting for the actual screen. So if we go up to so 450. Okay, yeah. So basically, as long as it's because of one, what makes it kind of um noticeable is because of I'm trying to get it exact. So if we go to 56, I think it is. So 456 is the less noticeable. And if we take this guy and then go to filters and then take out some gamma, and now go to edit filters, and now we take out some of the contrast too. If we go here, too much. Go here, to about right. Oh yeah, opacity should be up. Now the brightness. That works for this part. So it's, as you can see, some of the green is starting to like disappear. So now if we go here again, now the gamma is more of a, and now we'll take the smooth. That works, I think. So no, that still doesn't work. That's actually to a point because it's only noticeable if you since I'm behind myself. So if I basically put my neck up here, it doesn't show. So watch. So if I just take this guy, and so if I just take a scene, new scene, uh, uh, color source, and then take white there, for example, and bring it down. As you can see, this is how you tell if it works how you need it to. So now you usually take something bright to fix it. So because if you saw before, it looked fine. So now if we take this, take the similarities down to a certain extent. So basically, as you can see, it's not really noticeable. But if we take this and put it up, it's noticeable. So now you just have to take this and adjust it to a point where you're happy with. Because right here, I'm happy with. And so now, because if I'm going to add, because now you can then take this and then adjust this the way you want. So that's with a lot of gamma. This is not enough gamma. So now you just need to modify it to one, your skin color or how you like it. Kind of like it right there. That's right there. There. Pretty much this is making my skin look okay. Now if we go here, contrast meaning like I'm in the dark or too bright. So right there would be kind of nice for this specific set. So it looks better on like the A10 itself. But basically, that's how that will look. So as you can see, there's still a green tint, but basically that's because I'm not lighted from above. If I was lighted from above, it would be noticeable. But this actually um, gets a pass because one, the chair doesn't basically go through, but you will only notice that is if we hide the scene. You'll only notice it in a scene like this, where basically you'll notice the green a lot more in a scene like this, and also you'll notice the chair being seen actually through too, if you look carefully. It's not really noticeable if you aren't going through an infinite view like this. See? Bye bye. Yeah. That is that. So now we'll just delete this that source. So now let's just say you wanted this, but if your screen is like this, for example, let's move this down. You'll see that you have no problem blending in with the background as long as your background doesn't have any green, and as long as your background is um is kind of colorful. It's not really noticeable. So now, um, let's say you want your this would be something for like your this will be something for your camera. This will be something for your camera. How you if like you're gaming and you want to see something like this, either you can then take this right here because depending on how you look, because if you're looking and you want your camera on the right, you can either have the camera over here on the right, or you can take this guy and then go to transform and then go flip horizontal. And if it's flipped horizontal, it looks like that. But basically, that's because of oh yeah, no, I messed up. So I'm flipped horizontal. So if we flip that horizontal, we gotta go to scene, and then we gotta go to where it says number two. We gotta go here, and then we transform and flip horizontal. Because if we do that, or face that way, because I'm looking this way. Because I'm looking this way right here that I'm pointing at, but what I'm pointing at is actually going that way, the opposite direction. The way I'm looking now, I'm looking at the screen, which is right ahead of me this way, is looking this way, which is to my right, to my left. Right now, it looks like I'm pointing to my right, but I'm pointing to my left. So, because watch, because if we transform and flip this horizontal, see, I'm pointing to my left. This is my left, this is my right. And and this is how I'm naturally looking this way. So normally, if I'm naturally looking this way, you would want it right here or flip it vertical. And if I'm naturally looking that way, which would be left, you would, so if I show you, so if we transform, flip vertical. Oops, not vertical. That's my bad. So flipping vertical, so if you have to try to look upside down, you could. Basically, flip horizontal. So if you flip horizontal, see, I'm looking this way, but basically I'm looking straight on, but it looks like my hand's pointing right, but it's actually pointing left because it's inverted. So now, however you put your camera, you can put it over here or over there. So now, I'm just gonna put it over here because of this is the way I'm looking, and this looks kind of okay. And so if we go back to tutorial, it looks like that way. So now if I'm actually do that, so now let's just say, oh, you don't want to, you want it like this on one scene, so you just take this for example, you press you can press duplicate, but you want to name it some stuff. So you have this like this. So now I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to duplicate this, but uh, you want to make your scene separate. So you go to add, and then this one when you want to have nested scenes. That's why you want to have all your cameras set up specifically for nested scenes. So now I'm just gonna go to what was it called? Let's see. There it is. One second, I'm trying to find it. I'm going too fast. There you go. Okay, so now I have to. What, I forgot to remember what this one is. So, okay, a camera. So now we just go to camera. So I'll just use circles and apples. So circle. And so this one would be circle. So we'll just go here and just do that real quick. So let's go add because I don't feel like trying to just sort this out right now. So we'll go to circle. Circle is on number 1. So now we'll just remove circle 2. That's on tutorial. So as you can see, so tutorial is there. So if we go to circle, that's basically because it's out of the way. So let's just say we want circle 2 here. Just mimic that. Okay, so circle 1 is there, circle 2, that circle 2. So now on circle 2, let's go to add a filter. Then we go to basically image blend. So image blend would basically blend anything white with anything black would be invisible and white would be seen. So as you can see here, so if we go to here and then go to filter again, and then we go here and disable color key, it'll be black. And so basically that's just how that one is. So there's a reason why we would keep a chroma on this one, but and maybe if you want a chroma on the first one, you actually can. But I recommend it on at least this one at least. So I take this one. Now you go to the sources, and now you take this and take the on Windows. I mean on Mac OS, it's Option key, and I mean on Windows key. I mean on Mac OS, is Options, and you just drag it to the size you want. I recommend about this big. So basically, the effect could work. So after that, you go here. I actually can't see the top. So basically, this is when so you would have it like this kind of. So you can have it down here, like here. So it's not really done. You might want to just for this part go back to here and go to filters, turn off the chroma key for a minute, just so you can assign this like this, make it so it's proper. So now, after this, let me show you first. So you have your scenes like this. So now you want to go to where you have your folders, your files saved. For this tutorial purposes, I have mine saved in related, YouTube related, and now sources. So now we just take this. And so I have it set up on mine, so I have a underlay and an overlay. This underlay is meant for this specific thing, therefore, because most of my scenes have. Because if we just hide this real quick, so basically, most of my scenes, because I don't want to show black in the background, has this same wallpaper. So this one right here, this file right here, called background 1. So it has this behind here. So and if you put a camera on top of here, it shows on the side like, oh, that's just a picture, and usually is just a picture, but basically, because normally I have my scenes on here, so I can just and kind of wanted to make it a smooth transition. So I made a so I took an image. I took an image and cut it out called. I took an image called background, uh, because it was called border, but I called it uh, under overlay, which is this one. So if we take this one and move it, as you can see, it is slightly different color, but they don't. Most people don't see actually that, and then it is the same color. It's just different color inside of this capture card. It's literally the same exact color. So now you take this, because if you see, it's different color. It's actually different color. It's different color here and there. So, but it's actually the same exact color. And so I put the under overlay right here, so it covers up what happens over here. Because if you can see, nothing is being seen right there. But if we move this to slide slightly, it you can see what's over here. See, like that. So I made an over underlay. And so now, uh, we just take this guy, move it over, and this is why I have it like this, so I can have it blend in with stuff. And now I take my overlay, which is another file I have, made it, and take it, put it on top. So now like this, I have an over underlay that looks exactly like that, but and so then I have my cameras in here so they could basically fall into that. So now, normally I would just have it I have it like that, and then because border is basically over underlay, and overlay is called overlay. So now I'll take this, and this is how it's set up most of my stuff to basically these things. Because now if I put this here, look, it basically looks like it's behind the curtain kind of thing. But basically, normally I put this like right here. So now going back to the scenes and going, that was on source 2, right? I was on circle 2. So now we go here. So now, as you can see, I did an overlay. I did a an alpha channel, which I explained in another video, which happens to be in part 2 1.0, showing you how to make stuff like this. So now that video can be applied to most of everything here that I made. So now I'm going to take this guy, which is my background to code, because if you click here, because if you see here, I have background 3, background 2, and background 1 as hashtag header. So if I say background 1, it shows this one, and background 2, it shows that one, and background 3 is another color. So for example, I'm just gonna make each individual scene with like different colors I would want, and then just make the exact same scene but with the different colors, so I can switch between them during this. So for example, let me show you. So if I take this one, so I'm gonna take the scene, okay, go back here, and now I'm gonna take 1, for example. 1 is just a regular background, so we go here, we go back to sources. I go back to the folder, drop in this guy. We dropped in 1, okay? So 1, you don't see anything, right? So now if we drop in, so I'm gonna just say drop in 3, I think it was on 2 or 3. So let's see. 2 it is, I think it is. Yeah, 2. 2 is more colorful. So if we drop into here, you will see 2 right there, but you don't see it here. So now if we take the last thing, which is called face cam, face cam 1, which is basically just this little overlay that I showed how to make in a video, and so it covers up that. So now, if I then go to here and then enable filters, and I'll enable color key, it removes the background. So that's weird, right? Now that shows up. Now we'll go back to number 2, and that's going to disappear too. See, watch. Now you go to here. Now you go to filters, and not filters. You go to here. You go to properties. When you go to properties, it says loop, and then show nothing when playback ends, and then close file when inactive. So now when you activate it, it basically um, it basically um, it does that. It wasn't supposed to. Okay, my bad. Okay, that only doing it. So now, I'm trying to figure out why it's not showing up. I think it's because it's here. Yeah, that's why. So as you can see, that works like that, but for some reason I can't really figure out why it's not working here. Oh, I know why. That's why. So as you can see, what so basically as you see, this right here is the why you. So basically, the reason why it's not showing right up here is because of I'm using camera 3 because I'm using camera hashtag. So unless you make a each nested scene with like specific stuff you want, it won't work. So now let me show you why. This is what it's supposed to look like. Okay. So basically, in order to fix how that is, so you want this to work. So now if we go here, add scene, and then if we add a, so if we take this right here, go to where it says camera, and now on camera we have if we go to camera, then we go to camera, and then we go to here. We have to add so basically go here, go back to circle 2. So now, and as you can see, circle 2 actually has that image on there. So if we take this in circle 2, go to source, and then go to back 2. So come here, take that, and then put it inside the camera, right in sources, and then go here, paste, and now go behind it. So now, if we go here, and now if we go to camera, no, wrong one. So now if we go back to source 2, and now we go back to source here, put the camera up here, it doesn't work for some reason. I don't know why it's not working. There's something I did. No, so this isn't a part of the. This is the issue I'm running into because of. I don't know why it's not working. Let's see. Let's 1 second. Duplicate filters. Oh, that's why. That's why. That's why. It was just not user. It was my fault for disabling something because I've been working on other stuff. So basically, this is how it should work. What I just showed you basically is an issue. Was an issue. So as you can see, there's green in this. This one isn't good for using with a green screen background. So this would be good for if you have like a scene like this. So basically, let me just show you with a different scene because as you can see, the green is being picked up and cutting out stuff. So if we take this and then actually change, because normally what you want to do, you want to have the camera scene by itself, and then you want to have a scene just for one with a green screen on there. So for example, like green screen right here, you would put this scene, you would put this source behind the actual green screen source. So basically, when or if you have multiple green screen sources, you can basically with like multiple different background colors, you could have that same exact one with like the same exact camera that would be inside a camera scene that's inside a camera hashtag camera. It would be, for example, this camera that's right here would be in the same one, since basically it would be its own one because you're using a nested scene. You could then basically apply that effect to actual there. So what ends up happening is you get an effect like this, for example. And this is basically better because it's this would be using a lot more CPU if I didn't actually convert it. And the reason why it looks like my lips are going slower than what the camera's talking, because I'm going through I'm going to technically two capture cards, and then I'm going through a screen recording, so that's why. So now you have that one. So let me just show you what happens if you change it. Just go back here. I'm going to use a different one, so because of that has green in there, because I kind of forgot. So normally you would use that one for like a background or of like a computer. So background of a computer or some sort. So this one is different. What? Okay, that one. Yeah, that's a different one. So yeah. So now, if we go here, now if we go to back to scene, we go back to tutorial. Going back to that. So basically this is like this one. It is the same kind of wallpaper as that one, but it kind of blends in. So as you can see, I have a circle around here that moves. And you can technically do this for any image you want. So any video source you have, you just have to do what I showed in the other thing. As long as it's something that can be seen around a circle. The reason I did this is because it's actually viewable in a circle. And so now, let's just say you don't want this source on at a time. You can then take the Stream Deck and um turn it on and off. Like for example, watch. Take it, turn on, turn off. So that's what the Stream Deck. And if you put it in the Stream Deck, you can have it basically either um, turn on when you want it to or turn off when you need it to be off. For example, let me show you a different background again. So basically going back to source and now going back to here. Now we go here. And now we'll just go to one. So one is a different one. So one is a completely different one. It's actually faster. And so now the colors change slightly better. And plus, because the third one is actually the best one, but the third one is the first one is a lot nice, but the second one can't be actually used mainly for the fact that it is has grain in there. You don't want grain because of you're using a green screen, I assume. So now, and if you look, I'll just keep that one on there. So if you look on number two, so if you look on tutorial number one, that's how this one looks. And so if you say you're on number two, tutorial number two, this is how it looks, and you can move it around, and it does not change. But you can also have a circle background, and then if I could show you that, I would. Let's see if I can. So if let me just do it real quick. So we go to Stream Deck. We go to OBS filter. Don't worry, this was not the final Stream Deck. So now, if we go here, close OBS for a minute, and then open OBS. Stream Deck should work now. So that doesn't matter because the Stream Deck wasn't. So now, is that not working anymore? Okay, let's see. Shit. Okay, I know what the issue is. So yeah, so if you run into this issue, you have to close Stream Deck. I think it's open OBS and open the Stream Deck at the same time. Let's see. I don't remember. I fixed it before. Yeah, I have to open the Stream Deck first. Yeah, so yeah, this happens occasionally. So basically, occasionally, if you open up OBS weirdly, because if you open up the Stream Deck first and then you open up OBS, it doesn't work. If you open OBS and then the Stream Deck, it would have issues. So now it should work according to there. So now I don't know what the issue is, and figure it out at a later date. Okay, let's see. I don't know. Probably there's an update. I'm not for sure. This occasionally happens with the Stream Deck. See, I'm trying to fix. I'm trying to make it so if you have this issue, try to fix it. Let's see. Normally, let's see, still not working. Let's try. I think it's open the close the Stream Deck, close the OBS, just close the Stream Deck, close OBS, close OBS. Oh wait, wrong button. So now once OBS is closed, open the Stream Deck app, and then open up OBS. I think this is what I did already. I don't remember. Let's try the other way. So happens. So I'm trying to. I'm sorry. I wanted to show you what the Stream Deck thing is like. I wonder the issue. So no, I don't think it was an OBS issue. I think it was me not being smart. So no, so what ended up happening was I think I know what the issue was. I had my Stream Deck off. That's the reason why it wasn't working. So sorry about that. So yeah, the Stream Deck was off because if you can tell, because before let me show you. So right now, as you can see that's the actual Stream Deck on. If we turn it off, it turns off. I didn't move it from place, but I have a little switch on my Stream Deck. And so now, if we go here, okay, now I have to close OBS because I actually turned on the Stream Deck. That was my bad. So now let's go to Stream Deck. Cancel because I know this parts are missing. I know if we go to Elgato, it's not connected still. So now let's go exit. Now we go to start this because that was my fault why it was working before, but I actually I made it oopsies. Ignore. That happens occasionally because I've basically opened up normally because I've closed OBS too many times and I occasionally get an error, but that's because I've been closing, opening. Sorry. So this wasn't the issue. This wasn't supposed to be tech support video. This was literally supposed to be Stream Deck working. Okay, whatever. So normally, if I press that button, it does the thing.